Welcome back to the My Latin Life podcast. Since 2014, My Latin Life has been your trusted guide to traveling and living in Latin America. Our guests today are Lexi and Roman from Goodlife El Salvador. They're real estate agents, real estate business owners in El Salvador, specifically in El Zonte. They're huge down there, and we welcome them to the podcast.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us. We're super excited about this conversation today.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for coming on. I think astute listeners to the podcast will know that Lexi and I did a podcast about a year ago that people can go look up. It's the title of the pod is Real Estate Buyer's Guide to El Salvador, episode 279. So we're back a year later for more. We have Lexi again, and we also have Roman, who's I get like the founder of the business or one of the owners, CEO, something like that. Roman, you want to introduce yourself a little more thoroughly?
Sure. Many people know me as one of the co-founder of Bitcoin Beach, and that's how people know me. But I'm also one of the co-founder of Good Life with Lexi. And we have been focused, on helping people to understanding if El Salvador is for them, working with families, investors, Bitcoiners that now want to make El Salvador their plan A or plan B, and one of the reason, is because real estate is about trust, relationships, and for many people, being one of the co-founder of Bitcoin Beach, I have been that point of reference, and there is trust, right, in the Bitcoin space where people know me. It's like, if you're a Bitcoiner, I trust you, and the other say that we say is that don't trust, verify. So we have been having a lot of people coming to El Salvador to verify that everything that they read on Twitter, that they hear is the truth. And that's how we get into this business,
Amazing. And did you have a background in real estate, or you saw kind of like a business need, or tell us the origin story?
Yeah, I born here in El Zonte. I've seen this place when I was a kid. I didn't know all the things. I could not imagine, right, all the things that we're living now. But I remember hearing from my grandfather, like, saying that one day this place will change, but we didn't have any idea how will look like. So I'm a surfer. I grew up surfing here. Surfing kind of opened the doors. I met Mike Peterson like 20 years ago. He was a surfer that came to El Salvador in a missionary trip. Fall in love with El Salvador, with the wave, and we start being friends and start working together in many capacities. So my background always have been in surfing, tourism, and adventure. I used to have a tour operator here where we used to do a lot of tours to the volcanoes, waterfalls, surfing, always connecting and trying to show the beauty that our country had. And until 2019, when we start like using Bitcoin in the project in Bitcoin Beach, and we start seeing the interest of people. But really everything started in 2021 when Bitcoin became legal tender here in El Salvador, is that we start having a lot of requests, of people coming to us saying like, hey, can you help me to find a house? Can you help me negotiating a property? Can you find a lot for me? Because like I say, in El Salvador, we don't have an MLS, we don't have systems. A lot of people like when Bitcoin become a legal tender, a lot of people, you don't imagine how many people came here looking for beachfront properties, right, or looking for oceanfront properties, or ocean view properties, and in that moment is when we see an opportunity to start this business because people were coming with this expectation of being professional, being like having a contact, having a person that they can trust, that they can build business together. And for me, I remember I helped some friends to buy properties when I was 15 years old. I was a surfer, and these families used to come from Canada every year here, and I'm like, you should buy this property, but we're more surfers, and I think everything come together in 2021 that we realized with Lexi that it was the perfect moment because a lot of people were asking for help, and that was a need to start a professional business on helping people to invest in here in El Salvador.
Amazing. Yeah, it's the changes. It's so rapid. It's insane. I think it's worth mentioning to the audience, like the amount of construction is insane, and it's both public and private. Like they're redoing every road in the country, and so much so that there's like a lack of construction materials, and there's like wait lists to get certain construction materials. That's how much construction's going on.
Crazy. When you come to, for the people that have been knowing the history of El Salvador and have been coming here, it's crazy to see the changes and the constructions and the infrastructure projects that the government is doing, right? It's massive. For the people that are coming for the first time now, is also crazy to see all the projects, like tourism, construction, investment are the things that you can see, right? Everyone come here and they come to that conclusion quickly, right? That there is something happening here. This country is moving forward. It doesn't matter if you're here in Bitcoin Beach, in El Zonte, if you're in the city, all the towers that uh, developers are building. If you go to the east, there is a new airport. If you're driving in the small towns in the mountain, you're gonna see a big house that maybe is a Salvadorian person that just get back from living so many years in the USA and back into that small town where their grandfather used to live, and now they want to build their future and their future house there. So it's definitely even hard. Like you see in some projects here that people are like, wow, it's hard to find like labor, like people to really working in the construction. But it means it's a good problem to have, right?
It's true. It's true. And Lexi, how have things been, even just in the past year since we last talked, in terms of construction and growth down in El Zonte and Bitcoin Beach?
Well, I think so. If we're talking about Bitcoin Beach or El Zonte specifically, we have new projects that have finished over the course of the past year. We have a lot of new projects that they're offering new kinds of accommodations in El Zonte, and that I think speak to a different kind of traveler. So that's been really cool to see. I think right now with when you have new apartments or new accommodation offerings, it's always interesting to see, do those get filled with tourism? Is there really the demand? And I think we are seeing now more than before tourism throughout the year, like even in the rainy season. So having more tourism all year round, having more accommodation options, more restaurants. We had a new restaurant come to El Zonte called Roca, which is a really cool. What's the right word to describe it? It sort of feels like being in in like a tiny bar in New York or something. Like a speakeasy in New York. It's a really great restaurant. So we have different kinds of offerings for all kinds of tourists, and I think that's really cool to have. It's not just for surfers and not just for Bitcoiners.
Mm-hmm.
La Cajita, talking about restaurant, La Cajita Kitchen, that is Max and Stacy restaurant as well,
Yes.
is packed every day, brother. Pack.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I went there. I got some micheladas. It was good.
and you know Roman talking about all of the growth and towers and new airports. I mean, those are large construction projects, but you see the effect even in smaller boutique hotels, like hotels that have been here since the very beginning of El Zonte, now expanding their rooms or update, going through renovation. So everybody is adapting and changing to accommodate the new kind of tourism we're seeing here.
Yeah, and speaking of food, one thing I noticed, Roman, you're gonna have to answer this one, I think, or actually both, because I think Lexi, you're from California, but is how much influence Mexican food had, and a lot of the local restaurants would be like comida mexicana y salvadoreña, and it's not because there's a Mexican working there; it's just like the food style that they like.
Yeah, I think the Mexican food is one of the most strongest, like, favorite for Salvadorians, but also like foreigners, like a lot of foreigners that come here, basically, like they love pupusas. I love pupusas, and people eat a lot of pupusas, but once in a while, good tacos are good tacos, But I personally, I'm more like the spicy food a little bit, but I'm more traditional. I always will prefer more pupusas instead of tacos. But I see that also with tourism. Tourism love Mexican food.
Yeah, I think maybe it's like the ceviche influence as well, and some of that stuff.
And when you were down here, what was your experience of El Zonte most recently?
Yeah, I tried to go a little bit everywhere, right? So I was in El Zante, went to Tunco a couple times, went to San Blas area and visited the other guys, the Cocal. I stayed in La Libertad for a couple nights and hung out by the Libertad boardwalk and the Ferris wheel and all that stuff. I went to that fish market, and they're definitely doing a lot of construction in Libertad. I think that'll get really big. I think because it's like kind of the most direct like highway access. So tried to get like a little bit of the vibe everywhere. And man, those roads are curvy. Like if you're coming back at 2 a.m. after a night of drinking tequila, like I was like, I was woozy.
Yeah, it's an adventure. I always feel like, well, El Salvador always feels like an adventure, no matter how much it's modernizing.
But I must say, safety is just amazing. It's just maybe you could kind of speak to that again. But I just keep coming back to safety as being like the most important thing, and maybe you guys could speak to that and how families are enjoying that.
Yeah, I can give my thoughts on that. I mean, coming from the USA, I grew up in Seattle. My mom is now in California, and then I spent a lot of time in New York City after college. And just compared to the United States now, El Salvador feels really safe. For us raising our kids here, I don't have any concerns about even like petty theft or petty crime. So I've said it before, but I think it's a bad time to be a criminal in El Salvador. But yeah, raising a family here, I feel less safe and more concerned and more on edge when I'm back in Seattle. Staying in downtown Seattle. So I think with everything that's happened in the country recently, it's extremely safe, and especially for families, if you're looking to raise your kids in a place that's um, more affordable compared to the United States and safer. It's a great place to be, especially because you have access to the city, you have access to schools, you have access to the beach, you have access to sport. It's sort of you have everything that you need in a small country here.
Mhm.
It's crazy, Banks. I'm pretty sure you saw that those news that last year we received more tourism than Costa Rica.
Is that
To
true?
me, yeah, I that was the. I'm not saying this. I read it. I can
Yeah,
share the. I
sure.
can share the. I can share the article. But you have been in so many Latin American countries as well, and you can see that what's happening here once you're here in the ground, the energy is positive. There is hope, there is freedom, there is an energy that things are changing, that finally we change page and we're focused on building, right? And I think that energy is contagious. You come here and you want to build something. You come here and you want to have a family. You want to start a business. You want to help locals. You want to start a charity. I have been seeing so many clients from us that they don't have to do it, but they want to do it. The difference when you're in a place that you're inspired to do good, and I think that is unique, and that's what we're seeing now. All these El Salvador is not anymore a country that is a destination. It's a tourism destination that in the middle of the week you met people here in Zonte that say like, "Hey, what brought you here?" And back in the days, it was like, "Oh, I'm a surfer. I have family here." Now I met so many people here at the restaurant or at the beach and say, "What brought you here?" "Well, I've been seeing El Salvador for the last years and now I came to check. Did you surf? No? Are you a Bitcoiner? No. I just come, have good food, have a couple days of sun on the beach and enjoy it, and that is unique."
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Oh, I kind of lost. Anyway, I have so many thoughts on El Salvador after visiting. I mean, it was really interesting. I think people like, even though I mentioned it, the level of construction was like insane. Like in the how every road was perfect, and now they're like doing every sidewalk, it was really something I had never seen before. And oh, actually, you know what I was thinking was because how I mentioned I was drinking, and my friends who were El Salvadoran who were locals, they would not have one sip of alcohol if they were driving. Like they were taking it seriously, and I
Wow.
was surprised with that a little bit. I mean, obviously it's a good thing, but like there, so because I think that's important that we need to hold people to a high standard, and that people are gonna start that these behaviors and habits are going to outlive any one president, and this will become like the new normal going forward.
And people were concerned about that when that law first came out, and to be honest with you, I think it's a great thing. I mean, in now we have Uber way more accessible than it used to be on the coast. So if you want to drink and go out, like you can get an Uber easily. You can get an Uber in the city. A lot of restaurants have different programs where if you're drinking, they'll help you get back to your
Mm.
place. So the businesses and services have adapted to that law, and it also makes the roads safer. So for families who are driving, like you said, the roads are windy here by the coast. It's important to have those structures in place so people feel safe on the road.
Yeah, Uber definitely must cut down on drinking and driving a lot. A lot of the coastal cities in Mexico don't even have Uber yet. Like,
Yeah, it took a while for us to have it operating consistently on the coast near El Zonte. But now that we have it, it really helps a lot to have that access. We don't personally use it a lot, but if you're here, you don't have a car, you want to go to the grocery store or something, you can take an Uber there, and it's like a 20-minute drive. So it's nice to have that.
mhm.
And I think it's also the quality of tourism that El Salvador is attracting. Is seeing this as it's good. What we're seeing here, at least in the coast in Zonte, is there is quality people. Quality tourism. There are not tourism coming here to looking for discos, bars, nightlight, even if some people love that. But I think what we're seeing more is that people to come in, in families, to yoga retreats, wellness retreats, surfing, wake up in the morning and watch the sunset. This is also interesting that the quality of tourism that we're having now and we're attracting is it's really good to wake up in the morning walking with our kids to the beach and not seeing drunk people around walking on the beach, but everyone is waiting for the sun to come out, and I think that is also a really unique thing.
Yeah, I would say actually you hit on two important points. Wellness and health and wellness is becoming a major is a center point, I think, of the tourism that we're seeing here. I speak to a lot of clients on the real estate side who are coming to El Salvador and moving here or buying a place here for their health,
Yeah.
access to the sun, being close to the equator. They follow different unconventional health professionals who have really important things to teach. They follow them, and they're coming here for those reasons. So I would say probably at least 30% of the people I talk to are coming here for serious health reasons. So, and then the wellness side, like Ramon said, a lot of yoga retreats, wellness tourism, people coming for surfing. We have something called El Suave Wellness that opened up recently in El Zonte. They do different exercise classes. They do ice baths and sauna, and have community sessions. So you see a lot of health and wellness focus now too.
Yeah, totally. I feel like all of Central America, there's it really there's really a lot of that.
I think this is a really good path. I think El Salvador is not really there yet in wellness, but I think El Salvador could become the
Yeah.
Tulum of Central America, for if we want to call it like this. I think a lot of people come here and they know we have surfing because surfing have been in the media for many years.
Hmm.
They know about the beaches, but they don't know about that we have beautiful mountains, beautiful places with
Hmm.
beautiful views, beautiful small towns. I think this is what we're seeing, things moving towards wellness, tourism with purpose, family, and yeah.
Totally. Let me ask a bit about real estate specifically. Um, and a couple of questions I had. I'm trying to think of the right order here. One is, I think one of the big um, catalysts for real estate price growth, in addition to tourists, is also the El Salvadoran Americans coming back. That's actually more the narrative that I was hearing a lot when I was down there, or equally as much so as tourists. Do you find that in your clientele? Like, are you getting a lot of those Salvadoran Americans as well in your clientele? What percentage do you think they make up?
You you want to answer Lex first or Shoga?
I would say that we have a mix. Like our real estate company, Goodlife El Salvador, we have a mix of clients. We do have a lot of foreign clients. We also have Salvadorians that are coming from the U.S. or other parts of the world to move back to El Salvador, hermanos lejanos. So we have a mix. I would say it kind of, and it depends on where in El Salvador, what kind of tourism you're getting. I would say in
Yeah.
El Zonte, we do get a lot of foreign buyers who are Bitcoin enthusiasts coming from all over the world. So that's a huge attraction point. And I have a lot of calls with what would be like hermanos lejanos, Salvadorians who are looking to come back, and a lot of a lot of times it's areas that maybe aren't on the tourism map,
Hmm.
so to speak. Like maybe they have family in a part of El Salvador, and they're like Jameer said, they're looking to go back and like rebuild their family home, or invest in a specific part of the country that maybe you're not even seeing a lot of tourism. And I think that's pretty cool because you see this growth in every little pocket of El Salvador. So yeah, you have a huge mix of different real estate buyers right now, and I would say the real estate pricing is the prices going up is a mix of a million different things, but obviously the more demand there is, the higher the prices go.
Yeah, that was one of the big catalysts for real estate that I was noticing, particularly away from the beach. Like when you're on the beach, that has international appeal for everybody. But when you get a little bit away and you're in Santa Ana or like Sonsonate,
Sonsonate, San
yeah,
Miguel, Uh-huh. Yeah.
Like everything in Sonsonate I saw was like kind of for like El Salvadoran Americans.
Yeah. Yeah,
For
maybe
now, yeah. No, I think for now, yes. And the government was talking about 500,000 Salvadorian people looking to get back to El Salvador, 500,000. And there are no homes, those homes for everyone, if all those, just Salvadorians, so we're just talking about Salvadorians. And, but like, yeah, like Lexi say, we know some of the developers that we work in that have projects here on the beach. They also have projects in the other side of El Salvador, more inland.
Mhm.
Some of the new areas that are getting developing now, and those projects are targeting more for Salvadorians or retirement people that live in the USA that they want to come back, and they're doing. I will say it's one of the hottest market here in El Salvador. It's less expensive, less it's
more affordable.
more affordable, but it's also like what we're seeing, the first wave of investors. Everyone come with the same dream, right? I want to secure a beachfront property or an ocean view property, but El Salvador is really small. You will see this changing with the in the next years, because once the beachfront properties are gone, no one is doing more. And what we're seeing now is more projects going into the city, into the mountain. Santa Ana is beautiful. The east, there are many subdivisions happening now. I think El Salvador can be for everyone, but now it's also the other. This is another reality here, is that living 30 minutes or 1 hour away from the beach, it feels so far, right? Like
Mhm.
it's too far. But in reality, living 30 minutes away from the beach is not far, and many people that will start coming, they will say like, hey, I can live in Ruta de la Flores, it's more cooler, and I can go to Sonsonate if I want to the beach, it's 40 minutes, right?
Mhm.
45 minutes. So I think it's just a matter of time that we're gonna see this changing.
Yeah, I would say so. Man, I didn't even know about Ruta de las Flores before I got there. So when I came down most recently, I actually started in Guatemala, and then I took a bus down to Santa Ana, and then I'm in the bus. I'm in like a it was like a hostel like minivan thing where you everyone pays like $20, and they kind of like bring people from one hostel to another. I wasn't even staying in the hostels. I just like got the ride with them, and it was like all like Irish girls and stuff like this in the hostel bus. I'm like, and they're like, oh, like what do you, and everyone's like, what are you doing in El Salvador? Like, where are you gonna go? And everyone's like, Ruta de las Flores. I'm gonna stay in Wayua. I'm gonna stay in this and that town. And I literally didn't even know anything about it other than I knew where Murph's Life's property was, and I knew I was going to
Uh-huh.
Murph's Life's property, but I didn't know it was part of this whole sort of ecosystem called Ruta de las Flores, and there's like 4 or 5 towns and this and that. So like I just kind of I didn't know about that whole kind of area, and honestly, that's like my vibe. I loved it.
Did you visit?
It's
Yeah, Murph's Life. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I stayed in Wayua. I was at visiting his property for like a full week.
Yeah, no, it's really beautiful there. I love to visit. I mean, you can do that trip in one day. If you're staying in El Zonte, for example, you can do a day trip there. It's a long day, but you can do it.
Yeah.
But it's such a cool part of the country. I love it for like the restaurants and the coffee shops and the markets and yeah, the temperature. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, I checked out a couple. I went to a taco. I went to Tacuba. I went to a Huachapan.
Mhm.
Um, so I tried to check out some of the all the like Ruta Las Flores stuff because I really like that. Like on Twitter, I really talk a lot about how the coffee region in Latin America is just like the most underrated thing
yeah,
because a lot of people like everybody thinks about the beach and then the big city, And I'm like, guys, like there's this whole area called the coffee region that like every country in Latin America has. El Salvador has it, and it's just like it's something really special because it's not something we have back home in the U.S. Canada.
You have wine in you have wine.
We have wine. We have wine. Very few countries have
No,
both wine and coffee.
yeah.
I say obviously our world is real estate, so we're always seeing interesting opportunities around the country. But I always say, like, you know what? If it was a perfect world, we would have our place in El Zonte, our place in the lake, our place in the mountains
Yeah.
in de las Flores, and and our place in the east in Punta Mango. Like we'd have, because it's so diverse the country, and driving distance really for everything, but to be able to kind of have, like, the ecosystems are just so different and nice to experience if you need a break from the beach. So I always say, like, that would be my perfect
Mhm.
world, to have a place in every part of the country.
You know how I got from Ruta Las Flores to El Zonte is I just rode in the back of a guy's pickup truck.
Oh, the whole way, huh?
The whole- yeah, it's like an hour and a half or whatever.
Wow, good thing
It wasn't
that
too
it
bad. It
wasn't
wasn't too
raining.
bad. It was a vibe. It was like sunset too. It was sick. It was fun.
No, but
Uh,
this is like I said this earlier in this podcast, but really, like, what I love about El Salvador is that it's modernizing, right? It's modernizing, but you still have so much adventure, moments of adventure. Like, it's still, you're always going to jump in the back of someone's pickup truck. You're always going to, like, meet the local at a really cool hole in the wall restaurant. Like,
Mhm.
there's so much adventure and sport and excitement and interest about living here, even though you now have, like, the modern amenities that a lot of people need for basic living.
you know what my friends used to say? This is a good friend from Canada, like around he's 70. He said that this place is the USA and Canada in the 60s, where you stop in the middle of the road, hitchhiking, get people in the truck. I was like 2 weeks ago with a group of investors from Canada, just stop by the road and bring someone from El Tunco to El Sonte. He's like, we used to do that in Canada. I don't know what's happening. And I'm like, well, that's why we're here. That's why you're here.
Yeah. Before seatbelts. Okay.
Yeah.
Couple quick random questions. I'm just going to bounce around. What do you think about the San Diego area between Libertad and the airport?
Oh, Roman, you can take that.
I think, I think, I I personally don't like it, but I think all these areas, all these beaches from La Libertad to the airport, we have different beaches that are really under the radar, for so many people, like kind of like white sand, sandy all year round, but it's depending. What we do with our clients is that we show all these areas that they can understanding the different from each other, and then it's really depending of what's the lifestyle that you want to live here. Like if you are a surfer, if you want to be more close into a community, if you want to live in a place that you don't want to get the car every time you want to go to a restaurant or a coffee place. If you don't, there is not like a community there yet. There is a lot of properties, beachfront properties, but maybe you're not gonna meet so many people like if you're in El Sonte or if you're in San Blas area. You know what it means. So it's really depending on what's the lifestyle that you want to live once you're here. But I know people that have been investing there a few years ago and they're doing great. Good Airbnbs, people love it. And like I say, the beaches are always good comparing to this side of La Libertad, the other side of La Libertad, more west. That like now in the winter, the beaches change, there are rocks, but every place is special.
Yeah, beach versus rocks is definitely a big consideration when you're looking at the beachfront areas, right?
Yeah, but the rock, for example, here in El Zonte in the rainy season, it depends. Sometimes you still have sandy beaches throughout most of the years. In the rainy season, sometimes you get rockier beaches. but it's because of the surf, right? So people come for the surf, and if you didn't have the rocks come because of that. So it's everything has its place, I will say.
Hmm. Yeah, the surfers definitely know where the breaks are. Okay, what about like negotiating the offers on real estate? Like in a hot market, it's generally pretty difficult to negotiate because it's kind of more of a seller's market than a buyer's market. What does that kind of look like? Like how like when people see list prices online, um, what should people think?
I think this is a really good question, because this is like one of the reasons why you should working with someone that you trust and that understanding the market, because what we're seeing is in El Salvador we have two prices. One price based on the expectation of what El Salvador could be in 10, 20 years, and then the real market price. But the real market price is hard to know it because like you can do an appraisal, for example, and the appraisal never gonna be, you see appraisals that goes too high or too lower. So the best appraisal will come from someone that understand the market and will recommending what offer you could start. And like I say to my clients, like we can always go higher, but we will never gonna be able to go lower once you put an offer, right? And that many times is understanding, like how why they're asking certain, in real estate, people will understand in that there are cases where people came here to El Salvador and they find a beautiful cliff house with a perfect location, and someone came and say, "This is my dream home that I have been dreaming for all my life." And the seller say, "Well, I'm not selling up with the price." And it's like, so someone ending paying like a higher price for that property, but that doesn't mean that all the properties have the same value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is where it's a challenge that ourselves we need to educate sellers and buyers and say like, hey, why you want to ask? People come to us and say like, I want to sell my property, but this is the price. And I say with them, I'm like, I don't do magic. We don't do magic. We're running this business with honest transparency, and we're representing clients that don't want to buy with this hype, paying a higher price or overprice. It's like everyone want to buy now with the market price. And if El Salvador ending being here higher, the market of real estate is growing here. That's how real estate works. But sometimes it's a challenge, to be honestly with you, to set up the right expectation. And a lot of time it's also come to sellers getting their own advice and expectation from real estate agencies that they don't understand the market, and they thinking just because the next property was sold for millions, every property will be sold for millions. And then you see properties that stay in the market for years. And then they come to us and say like, well, maybe because the price is too high. So it's a little bit of challenge, and is something to be aware, that the good properties, when they come for the good price into the market, they sold. If they see properties that stay 1 year, 2 years in the market, there is something to have in question about it.
Mhm. Yeah, bit of a tough question. One thing I noticed or learned from spending time with Murph is he was interested a lot in like land development and sort of taking raw land and building the infrastructure there, putting in the telephone poles, putting in, connecting a road, building the road, getting the real estate, like basically like spicing up the property, making it habitable. And one thing I found cool about that is in most Western countries these days, it's extremely difficult to develop land. Like the permits take forever. These different like assessments and this and that. Like it's very difficult. USA is like kind of easy, depending on the state, but like most Western countries, it's very difficult to build. Like in Canada and Europe, etc. But in El Salvador, the permits they come pretty fast. Like if you know what you're doing, you know how to get the electric pole, you know how to build the road and everything. It can go pretty fast as long as you have the money. And I thought that that was pretty cool. How if you have the vision, raw land isn't like worthless or anything. Like you can really like build your dream there.
Now, this is a good point. We have to set up some time meeting for investors that are visiting the country and they want to do different projects, not just real estate. And when we set up meetings with the Minister of Economy or the Minister of Tourism, like when we're sitting in that office, they one of the questions that they ask to the clients is that how can we help, to make these to make this project come alive? And the clients after they're leaving their office, they're in shock, because like what you're saying, the regulation, the bureaucracy, the everything is so tough. And here in El Salvador is like we want to see projects. If you come with the good ideas, man, like you will find the support not only from all the institutions, from the government to accelerate that, to help you, not to make things difficult. It's this environment of business, this environment of we want to build this country and we need help, and everyone that can come and help, we need to support. I think that is kind of the vision and the energy that El Salvador has.
Totally. I really saw it. Like just getting a permit fast is so important. And it really seems like El Salvador has that down. And so like it's unbelievable how important that is. And I really got that coming I came away from it with energy that like, you know, it can be done, that you can get the permit because that's it's the uncertainty that kills deals and that kills projects, right? Is the uncertainty. Is it going to take 2 months? Is it going to take 6 months? How long is it going to take? And like it seemed like it was really working.
Yeah, and I think those are always like Roman said, we have a lot of clients coming down and we set meetings with them with the right people so they can get these questions answered. And this is always the question that people have. If I build, what do I need to do? Like how long is it going to take for me to get a permit? What's the zoning like? So these are all things that we help get answered for clients. And like you said, it's definitely possible. If people want to come here and build their dream home, like they can do it.
You
Yeah.
can. What I'm hearing from you that you should move here and we're gonna build the first Latin America community.
Dude, yeah, Murph kind of had me in his like force field, his reality distortion field when I was up there, and he's like, "I'm gonna hire you," and like this and that, and like I have this property, and like we're gonna like split it into like 8 parcels, and then we're gonna put a bridge over the river, and like this and that. And he just like all this stuff. It was like I was ready to like I was ready to like sell my stuff and move down. No, but it's fun. But
Well, well, we put the same offer on the table, and Morphy. No, we're good friends with Morphy. I love what he's doing, and Morphy is the example too that you can just do things in El Salvador. He's the one person that will do, and after we'll get the permits.
No, he's getting the purpose though. I mean, honestly, it's really the uncertainty because now, like things are so gridlocked in so many Western countries that you're like, it could take 2 years to get your house connected to the
Yeah.
grid, just to get like the wire from the street to your house. Even in the U.S., like Elon Musk talks about this stuff a little bit. So just to know that you can build in El Salvador, I think is like the inspirational message that I really want to get across to people.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. We're starting working with some clients that have these big properties now that we're gonna do subdivisions with the idea to create these communities. So there is a lot of things. I think you should move to El Salvador. That's the real question here.
That's the plan. I'm waiting for the construction noise to go down a little bit. No, I'm joking. Uh, no, it's literally like my whenever I get bored, and it's like okay, whatever. Next thing is we're gonna move to El Salvador. You know.
Yeah.
So you have been in so many countries in Latin America. Honest question: what is your favorite, and what you see El Salvador is doing different from the rest? Like we have been talking, but this also hear your perspective from it.
Yeah, it's a couple things. I really think safety is huge, not only in Latin America, but really everywhere in the Western world now. Part of me is like, I just want to move to Switzerland just to be somewhere safe. Um, but El Salvador really kind of checks that box, and the energy is really contagious to be part of something, growing something, building projects, being around other entrepreneurs, being around people that have ambition, and those are the kind of rooms that you want to be in, and you really get that in El Salvador.
Absolutely.
And what's your favorite country? You didn't answer that.
Favorite, it's
Be careful. Be careful with the answer, right?
I have different favorites. I think Mexico still kind of wins on convenience, just because they have Amazon and Costco and stuff. So once El Salvador gets Amazon, it's gonna be game over.
Yeah. We have our workarounds. We have our workarounds how to
I
get there.
know there's like a Miami thing that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a workaround, but yeah, that'll be huge. But and again, my favorite region is the coffee region. I really like that, and so. And just my idea is just like, if I can be in El Salvador, I got my Helix pickup truck, right? And I can just like rip around and go do trails and go for hikes and stuff. That's amazing. Another thing is a lot of places in Central America, like you really shouldn't go for a hike by yourself. Like it could be
Yeah.
dangerous. Like if you're in Guatemala, you're in parts of Mexico, things like that, you really shouldn't go for a hike by yourself, like to a waterfall or whatever. But like in El Salvador, just kind of knowing that the world's your oyster and you can do things like that, and it all kind of comes back to safety and just it's really as good as it gets. Like it's really really ideal. So
Yeah.
I'm really really bullish on El Salvador. And what I want the audience to do is, if you're interested in learning about opportunities in El Salvador, you guys need to contact Goodlife El Salvador. There's going to be a link in the description where you can contact them. And Lexi, Roman, do you want to tell people a little bit more the best way to get in contact with you guys?
They can go to our website, goodlifeelsalvador.com, and all of our contact information is there. That's probably the easiest, or fill out the contact form and we'll get in touch with you. We're really responsive. Or find us on, yeah, all of our contact information is on our website. And I will say, for any mothers, moms, women with kids that are interested in moving here, families, I'm always available to talk about my experience because I think it's very helpful if you're looking for a safe place for your family. So please feel free to reach out and talk to us about
That's
any
a huge
situation you're
angle.
interested in here. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't need to come and buy your house, right? In the first trip, book a book a stay. Come for a week. Go to Getaways El Salvador and book your stay. Book an Airbnb here in El Zonte. Go to Ruta La Flores. Go to San Salvador. We can help with that itinerary to put that itinerary together and come to see it. Like I say, I born here. I see my future here. I never imagined that our dreams will come true here, and where we're living is a dream. And El Salvador is home for us. But I also see that a lot of people are finding El Salvador really that place, the plan B, the plan A, are just simple, like skip the winter, come here, enjoy it. There is a community. The life is still simple, you're still connecting with communities. And I think so many direct flights from so many cities from Canada, the USA is super easier, and will be there is always good coffee here waiting for you guys.
That's dude. I had the best coffee of my life. They retweeted me the one in San Salvador, the Bitcoin Cafe.
Uh
Um,
huh.
I got to get them on the podcast. So it's called Cherito Cafe or
Yeah,
something like that.
I can introduce you to him. He's
Dude, do a WhatsApp intro for me. I want to get him on the podcast. We can do it
yeah,
in Spanish if he needs to. But
yeah.
I want, yeah. As we get to wrapping up, but yeah, I mean, Lexi, again, I think this is huge. The expat family thing, the mom thing. I'm sure you have like some
A lot of
mom
moms.
WhatsApp groups where it's like the expat moms and it's like a mix of everybody in there. Those are huge, and you don't get that everywhere. Like a sense of community, incredible.
No, yeah, please, please, and like Chimbera mentioned, Vance, we have the Getaways El Salvador as our vacation rental management company that we just launched, and we have some really beautiful accommodations here, and we're also building out itineraries for clients who want to come here, so we can help with that. Yeah, just basically get in touch with us for all your El Salvador needs.
Yes, and mention My Latin Life. Let them know where they found you, so that they come back on the podcast and we get to shoot the breeze again. Okay, guys. So link in the description. This has been another episode of the My Latin Life podcast. Again, our guests today, Lexi and Roman from Goodlife El Salvador. Link in the description to their website to get in touch with them directly. Please subscribe to the podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, X, wherever you're listening to this. Really helps us grow the show. Leave a comment, leave a review, and we'll see you in the next episode. Ciao for now.